We bumped into people like Betty Grable and Harry James and Johnny Ray and Ethel Merman and you name them, they were there. But Dorothy was amidst them. Dorothy and Roger were a very glamorous show business couple, especially in America.
The love match was sealed with a stateside wedding.
I remember this courtroom, you know, with the judge who was going to perform the marriage ceremony. And we went outside them for the wedding picture, and I was never in the wedding picture because Dot had left the new shoes she had got from Campbell's in the judge's office, so I had to go back and get them.
Though offered a number of movie parts, Dorothy was more focused on playing the role of wife.
I mean, she'd be great in something like Annie Gets Her Gun or Gypsy, you know, the mama in Gypsy. And somebody even said to me the other day how great she would be in Sunset Boulevard.
Before too long, Roger was being offered more and more substantial movie roles.
And I made 2 or 3 films, and I was then cast opposite Lana Turner, my first starring role in a film called Diane, which I played. She played Diane de Poitiers, and I was Henry II of France. And I came home from the studio, King Henry, and I said, "What time's dinner, Dot?" She said, "Don't you come the bloody King Henry here, boy." She built me up and put me down.
Fly to my loved one, guide him safely back to me,
I wanted a baby. I had my fallopian tubes blown in England, but it wasn't a success, so I had them done in Beverly Hills in the Caesar whatever hospital. And I was carrying them for 2 or 3 months. I had my butt in the air for about 3 or 4 months, and then I came back from a piano lesson one day. Roger picked me up, and he always had a habit of driving right up to the car in front, and I had whiplash. And when I got home, I lost that.
I think Dorothy would have been a wonderful mum. You know, she was very warm. She is very warm, very outgoing, larger than life.
Putting her own career on the back burner, Dorothy continued to push Roger towards success on the silver screen.
For anybody to say he married me to become a star or whatever, that's a load of...
People can think what they want, say what they like.
No way at all. That was nothing to do with it at all.
I certainly didn't go into a relationship with that in mind.
Roger was genuinely, it was a genuine... He never, no, that was never entered my eye, and he didn't enter his. He was super, he really was.
The great things I learned from Dorothy was to become my own person. I used to be very, very nervous about walking into restaurants, walking into a room, rather timid, and I think that happens, is the case with a lot of actors, that they like to be actors because they can be somebody else. You can hide behind a false nose or a moustache or a beard, or you develop a persona. And I think that from the time I met Dorothy, I then started developing a persona. I became somebody called Roger Moore.
Increasingly away on location, Roger met the Italian actress Luisa Mattiola.
You stop loving somebody when you lose respect for them, don't you? You got to love somebody. You got to respect somebody you love.
I think the problem in show business, you know, is show business, there is a lot of temptation, especially if you're apart for long periods of time, you know, and And I'm not particularly proud of myself. I don't think I behaved that well.
There were 4 or 5 letters, and very illiterate, film star, and the same handwriting from Rome. And she said, you say that Dorothy doesn't believe our love. Dorothy, she left the T out. It doesn't, or the R or something. She doesn't believe in our love. Show her these letters. Now, what kind of a cow was that, you know? When I went anywhere, whatever I did with agents, I always had their respect, because slags don't get them. I know the ones that laid around and they don't get them. I can dictate what I want, because I was a lady, may I say.
The marriage ended in a acrimonious divorce that took almost 7 years to finalize.
All the press used to say I wouldn't give him a divorce. Now, this is not true, so I went to see him at the studios where he was making The Saint. I was slim, brown, gorgeous American suit on and a big lemon. And I went up to the commissioner. I said, could I see Mr. Moore? And he said, who are you? I said, I'm Mrs. Moore. So I said, I want a divorce, Roger. I'll give you a divorce for 5,000. And I was quite prepared to do it for 5,000 to get me back into show business. And he said, I can't afford it. That's the last time I saw Roger. I had a Thunderbird outside, and I couldn't see the road. I just had to pull in. I was crying so much. And I saw his car going the other way. Now he was going home to his mistress. And I put my head on the wheel, and I said, what can I do? Where can I go? I was absolutely frustrated. I didn't know what I was doing, you know, bucketing down. And I thought, I'll ram the car into something to get the hell of it. I thought, no, I've got a lot of work to do yet, I thought to myself. I can't do that. I've got to tie the ends up, you know. And I don't think I was very partial to suicide, you know.
The following years were hard for Dorothy.
If you dare say how dare you be a success and hide the palladium and pack it?
Despite chart success, her growing reputation for being difficult led to her being ignored by radio and television. It needed something special to bring Dorothy back into the limelight.
Because that was a night I shall never forget in my entire life. It was sold out in 12 hours.
It was elementary, really. If you're in the charts with 3 records and had been in for 15 weeks, I've got to take a chance on that. And I was driving along the old Kent Road, and I said, the hell with it. And I was soliloquizing. And I said, I'm going to book the London Palladium.
Well, the London Palladium to Dorothy was a great challenge. Well, it was a challenge that a lot of people told her she was wrong. You know, that it's a very costly thing to do and a chancy thing to do.
It was the front page of the Star and the Evening News, which I still got. A full-size picture of me, Dorothy Squires, high as the London Palladium. And Linda Lee Potter the next day wrote the most vitriolic thing that you'd ever read. So I sent her a wire. Get well soon.
I was the compere on that night, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. I had to introduce the first half of the show. There were about 4 or 5 acts I had to introduce. And my next job was, after the interval, to introduce the amazing Dorothy Squires herself.
I was already on stage, and I saw Dorothy come out. And she looked at me and she said, excuse me, Kenny, she said, I'm just going round the back to have a quick prayer.
And I went back up to the top of the stage. I said, please, God, touch my voice tonight and keep it in. keep it in good shape. And when I walked on there, the stage was a carpet of flowers. They were raining down from everywhere. I can't explain it to you. And it was quite a while before I could start. And I said, are you as nervous as I am? And they were with me all the way. Night at the Palladium was one of the greatest things that ever happened to me in my life. But it showed me one thing. The audience, the public were on my side.
Well, this is the place where she had a great triumph, the stage of the London Palladium, where the flowers were coming up like confetti, unbelievable. A wonderful night for me to watch this experience. But sadly, things then deteriorated. For some reason known only to herself, Dorothy got involved with litigation, with lawyers, either being sued or suing herself, usually the latter. Cost her an awful lot of money and an awful waste of time. Sadly, the law took over for Dorothy from something that she knew best, and that was show business.
Whether I'm right.
Wrongly accused of bribing a radio producer, a case she won, Dorothy, in defense of her reputation, was to immerse herself over the next 25 years in a series of legal battles with the media.
I have gone through $500,000 in counsel and lawyers' fees.
Much of Dorothy's anger is channeled towards the owner of a tabloid paper that published purportedly, in her own words, the story of her marriage breakup to Roger Moore.
When the News of the World published When Love Turned Sour, that was the beginning of the end of me, because the vendetta that I was subjected to after that, and I hold Rupert Murdoch entirely responsible for it.